Welcome back to Power CEOs, where we're going deep on how to improve our AI literacy, how to flip the script and really view the age of AI as an opportunity as entrepreneurs and executives. If you're loving what you're watching, you're not going to want to miss a moment of it. Get to nowmedia.tv to see our shows live or on demand, and you can also download our free app, Now Media TV, on Roku or iOS, and enjoy your content anytime, anywhere. So, guys, I'm here with Tom and Steve, and we are talking about kind of the gap between AI and prompting and tactics versus actual AI literacy and adoption, and why entrepreneurs are still suck. So let's solve this problem once and for all. Tom, you have AI Simplifier. It's not just another course. It's actually more of a movement to empower business leaders to leverage the tool without needing a PhD in tech. This isn't about the future. It's about our next move. So talk to me about how AI Simplifier is different than other tools and courses that are out there. What makes it really click for the non-technical entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so funny story. In January of last year, I quote unquote retired from AI after spending a good couple years, working with it. And I slowly got brought back into it. And the reason I came back is I realized there's so few people that are really simplifying AI. I had heard time and time and time again that most AI presentations, most AI gurus these days are what I call over-complexifying entertainers. What this means is they're showing off, hey Jen, in 11 labs, and we can instantly create videos and audio and write a book in 18 seconds and all these things. And they're cool for entertaining purposes. But most entrepreneurs I talk to, they leave those scratching their heads going, okay, that was cool, but I can't really leverage and practically implement any of this in my business now. And so that's what AI Simplifier was built to do. People don't want a 12-week course. They don't want to spend 36 hours learning how to use AI. It's overwhelming. It's too much. It's too complicated. And so what we did was to set out to create, a short 30-day sprint. Think of kind of a hell week. You go in, you go all out. Um, and at the end, you've massively increased your capability and capacity. So the fun part about the sprint is it's 4 90-minute sessions. So it's not, 30 days of hell. And it's actually fun. But the focus is simplicity. It's basic. What are the fewest changes you can make? And essentially, we've got four themes that we cover. So the first is voice. Um, because everyone agrees, people try out ChatGPT and they say, ah, that's cool, but it doesn't sound like me. And so that can be fixed. Everyone can spot AI written content a mile away these days. 90% of content these days is AI generated. So it sounds something like, hey, Jen, this is going to be a game changing episode on live TV, and we're going to do a deep dive. And it's not about this, it's about that. And let's do this, insert 17 M dashes along the way. Right. So people starting to think that AI is bad for writing content, but that's completely false. The problem is 98% of people don't know how to use it the right way. So we've really dialed it in. Like, what are the fewest things you can do to fix your voice, then free up time, then overcome obstacles, and then really tap into your biggest opportunities? And so the course that we provide is hands-on, practical. It's not a 78-page best used case studies, examples that are really not relevant and practical and easy to implement. And so when you create that quick adoption and developing of confidence, then it empowers the user to start doing it more. And then when you get your whole team starting to do better work and really, delegate and reduce the work that sucks, right? The work that's mentally draining, so they can reinvest that time into the work that lights them up. Not only are you being more productive, but you're getting happier employees doing higher quality work in the same amount of time. So there's just so much of an opportunity with what I call the low hanging fruit is really where we focus. We're not doing AI development and software automation and all that stuff. There's a place for it. But before all that, I believe strongly that people need to get that baseline understanding and really that light bulb moment. And they go, whoa, I can do this with AI. Because very few people have truly experienced that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I'm going to ask a question because we see this a lot. I do a lot of AI strategy and integration, like actually producing the my tech team produces the models and we do the training, but one of the biggest hurdles we face is fear around it. So how do you guys overcome that? If say I'm a business owner, I have 150 employees and I'm looking at doing an AI implementation throughout my company, how do you shift that fear for the people who work for us? Because let's face it, a lot of the AI integrations at an enterprise level end up being an expensive paperweight because nobody wants to adopt it because they're afraid they're going to end up losing their job. So how does what you guys do sort of bridge that gap?
Yeah, there's some really interesting stuff happening. We heard there was one example that we heard this morning actually. There was a company that went and they worked with all of their employees and they cloned all of their voices. They were a marketing and communications firm, and what they did was as Tom mentioned there a moment ago, you can actually use AI and you can actually clone your voice. And so what they did, they went and they cloned all their employees' voices and then they let them all go. That's what people are afraid of. And we actually take the other approach. We actually help the people that are there become much more effective and much more efficient. So the thing is, AI will displace jobs, but what we find is for most entrepreneurs and most of their teams, small and medium-sized businesses like you were talking about, up to 150, 200 people, they're all working very, very hard. But what we find, once the leader and CEO has gone through our program, then the teams go through the program. What we find is there's a multiplier there. So they can either do more work in less amount of time or with less effort, or more importantly, it's lighting up those aha moments. It's creating content that we've never had the opportunity to do before. And really, what we're talking about is compressing the time to action. So if you think about a typical new product development or something like that, we've got an idea, we've got two or three different ways that we can leverage that idea and then actually get into action, and we're actually compressing all of those. So it's just a really, really fun time. And so, yeah, we need to, as entrepreneurs, we need to make sure that those bad stories of letting all the people go, that's not the best way forward from our way of thinking.
Right? And I immediately think of, because I experience this, I get this ask this question all the time from stage or whatnot, and that's there's all these stories, these negative aspects, but we don't have any intention of letting everyone go. We actually want them to be on
Mm.
board. So it really is amplifying that message. So let me ask you this: how can people who are watching here how can they frame this conversation if they're going to go through this? How can they frame this with their employees so that they're very clear that this is an amplification of what you're able to do? This is not a replacement. And what is your advice in that space? Because I know that's the number one problem a lot of people are trying to solve right now. They're afraid they're going to go through all this, and then even if they have no intention of letting their employees go, their employees are going to hear, oh, we're doing AI, and they're going to go look for something else. So what do you recommend for the people watching? How do they message this? How do they approach this? Because there is a lot of noise out there and a lot of replacement instead of amplification in the news.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear. And of course, the news is negative headlines gets a lot more clicks, right? So you're not hearing about the stories that, hey, this business, increased their productivity by 50%. And now that it's a more profitable business, they have better margins, they're providing better benefits to their team because they learn how to leverage AI, right? Those are the stories that are happening left and right, but they're not getting headlines, right? People just want to hear about X brand name company laid off 9,000 people, and that's what gets clicks, right? So there's a lot of fear around it. And in terms of the fears, AI good or bad, my quick statement on that is you can use fire either to cook your dinner or to burn down your house. So yeah, there's going to be bad things that come from AI, but I'm also confident in the upside, and there's going to be a lot of great, amazing things, that we're going to be able to do because of AI. So I think the most important thing for leaders is the intention behind it all. And I think, that's why leaders have to learn the power of AI and how to use it, because when they get those light bulb moments, they can see the light. They go, whoa, we can use it not just to replace jobs, but how can we serve twice as many clients with the same amount of staff? One of our clients, within the first 30 days of going through the course, cleared up his entire backlog, right? A project that was open for 6 months, they figured out how to close in 2 hours. And so they removed all the obstacles. And once him and his team did that, they were able to triple the outbound calls to their existing clients from 250 to 750 in 1 quarter. Exact same team, way less stress, way more fun, triple the output, right? And I think those are the stories and the examples that need to be given. And it's really painted from the angle of, we are investing in you, and you're going to be a more valuable and more productive employee, and you're going to get to do more of the stuff you enjoy doing, because we're going to teach you how to leverage AI internally and then bring it to help, in the business. So I think it's really the angle and the intention that's set from the get-go. As goes the leadership team, so goes the rest of the team. So when the leader and the leadership team both learn what's possible and start seeing this bigger and better future that can be amplified and created thanks to AI, I think if it's planted that way to the team, they're going to be a lot more receptive and a lot more willing. They have to, they have to see the picture, because the picture they're reading right now is given via the news, and the picture is fear, fear, fear. And so I think for leaders to have a successful rollout of AI, they have to get the buy-in from their teams. And
Absolutely.
frankly, a lot of companies have not done this, right? It's been fear. It's been not telling them what's doing and doing behind the scenes, and then they roll out this big AI solution, and then they're scared. They're scratching their head why everyone's not jumping up and down when they talk about it, right?
You're absolutely right. And unfortunately, all good things come to an end, including the show. So, folks, Tom and Steve have brought to us a new way of looking at AI. They are shifting the narrative. They are providing AI literacy. Reach out to them at AI-simplifier.com. Let them know that you found them on you heard about them on Power CEOs. Reach out to me if you need their contact information. Thank you so much for staying with us. We do have to go, unfortunately, but you have your action steps. Start using voice instead of your keyboard when you're prompting your LLMs or your AIs, and start getting comfortable. And beyond anything else, lead from example and be transparent with your team. Get them excited about the integrations that you're going to do, because that's how we lead in a way that amplifies rather than replaces. We will be here same time, same station next week. But until then, win today, win this week, and I'll see you next time.